Major funding for Jann Scott Tonite is provided by Johnson Storage and Moving Company, agents for United Van Lines.
Restaurant on the downtown mall in Boulder, Colorado. It's Jann Scott Tonite, America's only non-network home video talk show. And now, here's Jann.
Kid, that shot somebody, another white kid, and this is unthinkable. It's the same kind of deal. You're right. Here's a mom in a middle-class neighborhood that gives her kid a Mac 11. She should, one, be switched publicly for giving him the gun, and two, she should probably be sent to a mental institution because she doesn't have a brain in her head. 935-7100. Anybody that gives their kid a gun like that, it's unbelievable. And if you can hear of any more white boy crime, call me and we'll get it out here on the air instantly. I am not a racist. Has nothing to do with it. Or if you know of any white gangs that do rove and do drive-bys, we'll talk about that too. I call the Hemp Initiative in Denver, rather in Boulder, the Hemp Initiative. That's they're white gangbangers, a bunch of white kids that want to legalize drugs and push more drugs. I kicked, if you were listening earlier, I kicked those kids around too. The Skinheads, one of my favorite group, but I haven't heard about them doing a lot of drive-bys amongst themselves, committing genocide. Let's go talk to Charles. Lines are filled if you're trying to get in. Charles, do you have a question or comment tonight, sir?
Oh, yeah. I was hoping you'd get me on a little bit earlier.
Sorry about that.
But anyway, the last calls you had were tremendous. It just amazed me. Of course, now I'm a transplant from California, and let me tell you, every time I pick up my trash, I carry it to the garbage disposal. I don't drop it on your 16th Street Mall or your downtown streets or whatever. I remember back in the 70s, I've been coming to Denver. I've been coming to Boulder, Denver area when it was a really cool place to live back in the Rocky Mountain Way and, John Denver days, Rocky Mountain High and all that good stuff.
You're the first white guys.
74, and remember when you guys put up them Colorado native stickers and all that garbage, But hey, let me tell you, I've been coming here since '74, and we Californians are not like you play us off to be. I could turn around and say, wow, I'm a transplant right now. I've been a 5-year resident of Oakland, California, and I'm white.
Yep.
And I was also a cab driver there for 3 years.
Yo, Charles, you're the first white guy who's called in tonight. We've gotten about 11 calls so far.
I know. That's why I said I wish you would have got me on earlier.
Well, no, it's I'm probably racist. That's why they said white guy. I said put him on last.
Huh?
They told me, they said it's a white guy, and I said put him on last. I'm just kidding.
Well, okay. Well, anyway, like I said, I've seen Denver over all these years, going on 20 years now. And I can't remember a worse time for me to decide to come here and work the spring and the summer again. But anyway, getting back to I believe me, I've been accused of being a racist many times, and I've been accused of being a sympathizer with black people, Hispanic people, because I come from a small little town in the rural area of Fresno, California, and I grew up with Hispanics, and Rafer Johnson was our number one collegiate, still holds records on our school billboards. Rafer Johnson. In 1960, he won a lot of Olympic medals and stuff, one of the first black people to ever achieve that. And he still holds records there, and people still have a high acclaim for the Johnson family, and the people are still talking about him to this day.
Charles, let me ask you something, man. So you live in Westminster, and what's the crime like out there? What's the gangs like, and what's the drug dealing? Anything, or is it pretty? Is it clean, or is it dirty?
It's getting dirty. There's a lot of kids driving up in the street. They're doing crazy stuff like jumping out of their cars on Friday night, Saturday night at the self-serve gas station, accosting people, regardless if they're white, black, or Hispanic.
Okay, now are these white kids, black kids, Hispanic kids? What kind
Mostly
of
blacks.
Now is that a racist?
If you call the police, you give them their license plate number, the police don't do shit. They don't do nothing.
Is that you have to watch out for those four little words. See, now, is that a racist statement or not? Are you a racist?
No, I moved back to Colorado to get away from all the garbage that's going down in Oakland.
See, that's the problem. Okay, thanks, Charles. I got to move on.
All right.
Thanks for your call. See, that's the problem. You make a statement like that. Is Charles racist? Is Jann Scott racist when he says that black and Hispanic parents in the black and Hispanic communities need to get their kids under control? Is that a racist statement? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not a racist. I just don't like BS going down in the streets. I don't like to hear about it. I want to see it come to an end. I don't want to lose this city the way we lost Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was out in Los Angeles last week, and it was amazing. I hadn't been out there in quite a while, and the graffiti all over the place, and people carrying guns going to work, people afraid to go down certain streets, carrying a gun to go to the airport. It was maybe I'm a tourist and I just don't understand the way things are, but I thought perhaps they might be overreacting too.
I think when people start to work in neighborhoods together, neighborhoods that are mixed, if you get black, white, Hispanic, and yellow people working together, the issue of race is going to go away. What's going to come up is we're sick of these criminals running our streets. We want to take our streets back. And what that means is everybody has to get out of the comfort zone. The comfort zone being sitting home every night watching the tube, and it means getting out on the street in mass, talking to people. Where am I going now? Which line? I'm going to 1. Okay, we got loaded. No, we got one line open. 935-7100. If you want to get in on this tonight. Hi, Joe. You're on with Jann Scott here in KNUS. Oops. Jen, go ahead. Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
Hey, Jen. I live in Park Hill, so ostensibly I'm not racist. But
what do you mean?
Who causes all the problems in the Park Hill neighborhood? I've lived there for 8 years, and I don't see the white kids graffiti all over the Natural Museum of History, graffiti all over the homes in Park Hill. You know, who is it? It's the black people.
Mm-hmm. Now, Park Hill, as 2 years ago at least, was considered to be, if you read the paper, even just last year, was considered to be a well-integrated, upper middle-class kind of neighborhood, a safe neighborhood in the middle of, in the middle of the insanity. I mean, it's on the edge of the black community. It's on the edge of Capitol Hill. So now you're telling me you're a Park Hill resident, telling me you've got problems?
Oh, there's many problems in Park Hill, and Greater Park Hill wants to put all the problems, between the sheets. But yeah, if you drive through our community, if you drive through down Montview Boulevard between Colorado Boulevard and Monaco, and drive the alleys there's graffiti all over, and during the summertime, all you see are the black kids with graffiti all over the neighborhood.
Well, so you know what the solution is now.
Well, the solution is to get out and, repaint your garages, repaint your homes that they destroy as quickly as possible, but it gets tiring.
No, I'll tell you what the solution is, okay? You see, the solution is that you have to get out onto the streets with everybody, black, white, your neighbors, the people that have jobs, that are not, obviously Park Hill's a pretty good neighborhood in terms of, there are a lot of property owners there and a lot of people who work. It's not a welfare neighborhood, right? It's not a lost neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely no ball.
But what you have to do, then you have to take the neighborhood back. You have to get out with all the other neighbors, whether they're black, Hispanic, I don't care what color they are, because this isn't an issue of color. It happens to be, even though, and this is an interesting point, it looks like you're telling me, okay, I live in Park Hill, which is salt and pepper, right? It's black and white, mixed, right? Mm-hmm. Almost equally?
Well, yeah, I'd say 50-50 anyway.
Okay. But you're saying, okay, but it's the black kids that I see doing this stuff. But it doesn't really matter because it's your neighborhood, and you may be half white, half black. You still have to get out with your black and white neighborhoods. In fact, you more have to do that and take it back from these kids and stop them and say, and what I mean is just, you get out and you walk the streets every night with orange day-glow shirts on, flashlights, take down phone numbers, get involved with the Unsinkable Neighborhoods groups, and take down, and say, who is this kid? Johnny, who are you? And go take him, go to his mother and say, why is your kid on the street doing this? Because, see, then color disappears. It happens to be the black and Hispanic kids who are causing the gang problems, but on another level, it doesn't really matter.
No,
it's just an easy way for me to identify
it's just happening, and it needs to stop.
Yeah, but it's your neighborhood, and if you don't become proactive with other members of the neighborhood, whether they're black or Hispanic, you're going to lose the neighborhood.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, it was good talking to you, Jim.
Thank you for your call. Now, that's a good question, folks. Was this guy racist? Was Joe racist? Is he racist, Pete? Huh?
Well, kind of definitions of terms, yeah. But I think that earlier black guy that called you, who was saying, "How about the white kids?" It's that kind of brand of racism. Just the concern. The blacks do get blamed for a lot of things they don't do. And I think that's some part of, and then on the other hand, there's the white guy saying it's the black kids doing it.
Look,
but
Joe calls in and he says, it's the black kids that I see doing the graffiti. I don't see the white kids doing it.
Oh, I don't think he's racist directly, but I think there is kind of a subtle bit of it, that his perception of it, blame the blacks.
Well, okay, and you know what I say to that? Is I say, well, it makes sense to me.
What?
Of course racism's going to come out of this. If you keep,
sure.
If it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and you say, God, it's a duck, and other people call up and say, well, it's not just the ducks, the chickens are out there too, and they say, well, the ducks are out there 10 times, the chickens are out there once. You say, yeah, okay, you're a duckist. Well, am I? I don't know.
Well, racism is just a matter of trying to, pass the blame. Now, who's to blame or whatever.
Hang on here for a minute. Let's go talk with Bob. We've got to get through some of these calls. Bob in Lakewood, you're on with Jann Scott this evening.
Hi, Jan. I could hardly hear what you guys were talking about on the phone. It's just a lot of mumbling, and I wish I could have heard what the fellow was just saying.
Why, was the phone calls not coming through on the radio?
They're all really rumbled together. You can hardly decipher what words that you're using and how you're talking. But anyway, I'm an old guy, and it took a little while for me to get ticked off, but the racist Lewis just did it. I enjoy your program. I'm a new listener.
Thank you.
I would like to pass this on to Lewis, that the NAACP and the ACLU were the spear points that took the crime listing out of the newspaper. This was to give the Mexicans and the blacks to take all of that out so that people couldn't sit back and say, my God, look at this, 90% of the crimes over the weekend were done by such and such. Okay, that's fine. I used to live in Montbello when I got out of the service, and all of my savings, everything we had, we put in a home out there. This is in 78. In 81, we had to move after we'd been broke into 4 times and lost 3 TV sets and God knows what else out of the house. You go out there today and look at the number of people that got bars over their front doors and over their windows, those poor souls that can't afford it. But I'm telling you, this guy Lewis just really ticked me off.
Well, you got to understand.
He is part of the problem.
Well, see, Bob, you got to understand. Lewis is really angry because...
I'm angry, too, because he's looking through his own little tunnel vision, and that's a bunch of crap. I used to work at St. Anthony Hospital after I got out of the service. And I'll tell you about a little 18-year-old boy that was having chemotherapy up there, missed his bus one night, and when he went home, 5 Mexicans jumped out of the car and worked him over with a tire iron, and I was in the emergency room with the cleanup crew taking care of him, and he died on the table just because he was having chemotherapy, but they thought he was a skinhead. That's a bunch of bull, man. Racism is in their pocket. It's not in the white man's pocket.
It's just an interesting point because... see, he's angry, you're angry, I'm angry, and it's like, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier.
I'm angry because people like that take and turn this crap all around. The white people have been very tolerant of all this crap.
Well, it's an interesting point. I mean, I will make a statement to you here. Okay, and I'll tell you something. One of the reasons that the black gangs and Hispanic gangs do not come into the white community is because they know that they'll lose. They'll be outnumbered.
That's
why they don't do it. People say, well, it's just blacks against blacks and whites against whites. No, that's not true. Black gangs come into my neighborhood, it's going to be it'll be a bad scene. And that's why we don't have those kind of races.
They're fighting in crowds, 10 on 1. They can do it that way. But 1 on 1 they won't do.
If we don't have this discussion on radio, and we don't get this thing straightened out, we're going to lose this city.
That's right.
And and it's all of our responsibilities, black, white, Hispanic, and yellow. We haven't talked about the yellow people too much tonight, but it's all of our responsibilities to stop the crap.
Yeah.
I don't care what color you are.
And just one last comment,
yes, sir.
Jan. I know this is a little deviant from that, but it is tied in. I've been a member of the NRA for 35 years. And I taught all of my kids and my grandkids safety. Everything is just wonderful. And I even volunteered at the various gun clubs to run as safety line officer. And this is great. But here, all the work that we've ever done to preserve the right to keep and bear arms in decency, these kids with no regard for human life, but only to look good in front of their girlfriend, go down there and shoot their own people on their own streets. That's craziness. And that should tell you right there that it's craziness.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
We will continue with the Sunday Night Talk. Hey, this has been an interesting program all night. We'll be here for the next hour. Joe Starr is here with us, and Pete Egan. And we're going to go back here and talk to Joyce, who called from Aurora. Joyce, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So now you were on your way home from church, and you heard.
And I was listening to you, and
you live in Aurora.
Wanted to say to you is that the kids in the minority in their areas, they don't have opportunities. And I don't mean to throw this in no racial, because I'm not racial at all. I don't have any problems. I would expect a white dude as much as I would a black to break in my house or to rob me or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. They all do it. Okay, and maybe some of the reasons you don't think that whites are more involved, you're not in the midst of all of it. You don't see that. You only see what they show us on TV or what they may write on in the paper, but those that live in this or have lived in it, we know. Now, the dope man will pay a child more money to stand on the corner and look for police than you will in a McDonald's, or not you, our establishment. Okay, we say parents are the faults that children are like they are because they're not being brought up. That's not so. Also, man has also taken away the authority from parents. We're not allowed to even whoop the children anymore. What black children have always been brought up that they would get a whooping for things they were doing wrong. And believe me, they feared that. And we can keep them in line, not to scare them, but just to chastise them and show them this is wrong, and this is what you get when you're wrong. But now man has taken that away. Not everybody is beating their child to death and trying to kill them. We're trying to teach them discipline. But it's been taken away from us. Okay. So now you find kids that tell their parents, call the police, I don't care, I'll do what I want. You'll go to jail. Now we got our children talking to us like this because our system has set it up.
Okay.
But they wonder why the kids is
so what you're saying to me is what I'm missing is the fact that there are plenty of white kids who are getting in a lot of trouble out there.
Of course it is.
All right.
Now that's not a racial statement neither. That is true fact.
Okay, I don't disagree with that. The problem is I pick stuff up. Actually, I don't even know how the heck this thing ended up on race, except for the one I've been saying this. Okay, I mean the numbers show that in terms of shootings and in terms of arrests and things like that, the black and Hispanic kids seem to outnumber the white kids 3-1. That's what the numbers show. I mean, I read that earlier in the program. Then somebody called up and told me that I was a racist. Why don't you talk about what some of the white kids do? But you know, when it's 3-1, you're going to be talking about it a lot more. Let me see here. Where the heck is it? So that's I'm not gonna go through all this material again.
It may be more blacks, it may be more Hispanics that are doing this, but there's a reason for it. It's what I'm trying to get you to realize. These children are not out doing this because it's just something to do. Now it has grown a lot worse though. I mean, they have gotten to where they have nothing to do, so they sit around and their minds is idle, and all they can think about doing is doing something they have no business.
So Joyce, here's my solution. This is what I say. In the neighborhoods where that's happening, it is the responsibility of all the parents and grandparents and some of the other kids who are not in trouble to go out and patrol the streets every single night in mass with Dayglow orange shirts on, flashlights, and when you see a group of kids over there on the street corner, say, hey Johnny, what are you doing out here? Why aren't you home doing your homework? Why are you out here gangbanging? Where's your mother? And then take that kid over to his mother. I realize this sounds a little ridiculous, but it's the way it has to happen. I'm gonna
tell you the reason that don't work, because I've tried that already, okay? And some of these kids will blow you away, okay? You can go out trying to tell them, because this is how respect to parents and respect to adults is. I've had kids walk by and tell me I look good enough for them to do something to as far as sex, and I'm old enough to be their mama. That's how disrespectful children are today.
I know that.
But you cannot go out and tell a kid like people tell you say no to drugs. You cannot say no to drugs. I've been on them. And you cannot just
I know that. I've been on them too.
You can't never tell if you ain't never been there.
I have been there. there. I've been an addict. I know what it's about, and I've also...
You can't say no. You
cannot know once you get started. That's right.
That was the case. You'd have been off of it a long time ago.
That's right.
So it don't work that way.
I know. You're right. No, you're right about that.
This thing is deeper than just us looking at the cover of it. There is a lot of drive-by shootings, and a lot of them are black, and maybe a lot of them are Hispanics. Why are they like this? What is it? We can't just attack the branch. It's the whole tree that's affected.
Okay,
We've got to
that's what
learn
I'm
to
saying.
extract it from the root.
Joyce, listen to me for a minute. What I'm saying is this: it takes not just one person. You can't walk.
I know that.
You can't walk your block alone. You have to take everybody on the block.
True.
If people, and it's going to take working people that are working. The welfare people, it's going to be harder. You can't go into a crack neighborhood and try to reclaim a crack neighborhood. You can only reclaim a working class neighborhood like Montbello or Park Hill. Those neighborhoods can reclaim themselves right now before they're lost, and they will be lost. They'll become just like Compton. We will lose them. That's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm saying that the community at large has to become involved. I don't know now in your neighborhood in Aurora, are you in a working class neighborhood where they're property owners, or is it a welfare neighborhood, or what's it like?
Does that make that be a difference because everybody's on welfare? You think all welfare people don't try to do better themselves?
You know, I'll tell you, I hate to say this, Joyce.
The question you asked,
I know, Joyce.
It seems very prejudiced to say
it
that.
Is.
You would say that it's only happening in them cases.
No, Joyce,
I live in a bunch of apartments, duplexes, and townhomes are at. This is where we live at.
All I'm saying, Joyce, is like when you live in a neighborhood where people own property and have jobs, they are going to be more inclined to try to protect their neighborhood. If you live in welfare neighborhoods, the incidence of crime, alcoholism, and drug addiction is much higher. And it's just the way the numbers come down. And so if you say I'm prejudiced in terms of the numbers, not in terms of the people or the...
or their living status or their type of income.
Or not their color.
You know, not everybody chooses to be on welfare. I know a lot of people really like to get off of there, but they don't make it fixable where they can get off of it either. They'll snatch them down, so they got to stay on it just to make it. But anyway, I won't get into that.
Right.
But what I'm trying to, I understand where you're coming from. I really do.
I know. Listen, I want to thank you for your call because you're the kind of person, you know, the fact that if you were an addict before and you're going to church now and you're off and you're calling in.
I've been for 6 years.
Yeah, see, you're my hero. You're the first hero.
The hero is when we can get two more to do what we've done.
You got it.
That's
right.
Yes.
Yes, amen. God bless you. I got to go.
All right. Thank you.
See, now this woman made more sense than anybody called in tonight. She's, you know, she's got something. And she just said it at the very end. If I can get one more person or two more, that, you know, she could reclaim her neighborhood.
Well, and she was also talking about kind of the erosion of parental responsibility with all this civil rights kind of crap that goes on. Children have rights, and parents can no longer physically discipline. They can't physically or otherwise discipline. And, yeah, so she had another interesting point.
Well, she's also talking about getting opportunities for jobs for these young people, these kids, these people that are doing that. Sure, working at McDonald's flipping burgers or whatever is not high dollars, but if you get a job like that and you don't start in selling drugs, I mean, she's talking about they're able to make more money selling drugs than they are working.
And see, she's right, too. Once you get on drugs, you get on crack or heroin or whatever, get addicted to the drugs, you just don't jump off of them, unfortunately.
But she wants to get people started in the right direction so that they don't get started in this.
All right, let's go to line 2. We're going to talk with John in Arvada. Hi, John.
Hi, Jan. I'm in Aurora.
Oh, you're in Aurora.
Yeah,
okay.
and I want to kind of echo what that woman said, but I want to kind of try to set her straight a little bit. My parents moved into Aurora in 1960, and the street Yosemite is the cutoff over to Peoria, and it's called North Aurora, and from Colfax to 25th Avenue. And I've seen this area. I've lived here my whole life. I'm 33 years old. I've seen this area deplete to what it's become today. And what has happened is that when we moved in here as a child, these were all military personnel, retired, what have you. As they died and went away, these houses became Section 8s, what have you, rental properties, slumlords, so have you. All the apartments went to hell in a handbasket, and that environment just moved in right with it. Okay, I have one of those nice little scanning radios you can pick up at your local Hobby Lobby. And I listen to all the action that goes on over here in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, and people might say I'm making a racist statement, but that what comes through my section of town on my police scanner is 5-to-1 black committing these crimes. Now they can say, well, it's the white man's fault because he gave them the crack. or they can say it's the white man's fault because he enabled it.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But that's what a lot of these black leaders will use. Well, if they want to get down to brass tacks, I guess they can blame the white man for bringing them over here. You know, if you really want to get that.
There's a book out, incidentally, I want you to know about, John, and I want everybody else to know about it. It's called Reclaiming Your Neighborhood. It's out on Ballantine. You can get it at Tattered Cover. It's in paperback right now. It's about a $7 book. It is written by a Supreme Court justice who traveled the country for 6 years and tracked this stuff. And I've also been in neighborhoods all across the country. And so what we have to do is we have to reclaim the neighborhoods by responsible citizens such as Joyce or yourself. And
well, we got neighborhood watch over here, okay?
Do you? Good.
And our block is pretty clean. We keep it, but you know, I can go a half block over, and the crap hits the fan over.
Now, what do you do to keep your neighborhood clean?
I call the police. In fact, here a couple weeks ago, I chased a couple of gang punks that stole a lady's purse, and they're lucky I didn't catch them because I would have tore them up. But I did get a good enough description where the police later did catch him.
Well,
get involved. You got to get involved.
That's right.
You know, people want to hide back, look out their window and say, "Oh, it's terrible out there." I go out there and get in the fray of it. You know. Hey, I lived on that seedy side at one time in my life too, Jann, and I've done things to try to improve my life in that aspect. And you know, hey, I got a family now, and I'm not going to let them.
That's
right.
I'm
not going to be prisoner in my own house, so to speak.
No, sir, I hear you, and that's pretty much why we do this radio show. I've seen enough of what drugs have done to me and crime and gangs, not only to myself but to a lot of other people. And it's like somewhere, sometime, you got to take a stand, and the stand is it stops here.
Well, it's good that you talk about that because there are a lot of the other stations. You bring up the R word. Well, no, we can't talk about that. We can't talk about that. We got to leave that alone.
Talk about racism?
Yeah. A lot of stations won't touch that. And I think, we're in a melting pot now to where we're not far behind with Los Angeles.
You're right. No, it's
and
very
we
true.
can lose our city real quick.
We can.
I don't want to be a prisoner in my own house.
Hey,
I don't
John.
want to have to go out of my car and feel I have to carry my piece with me to protect my family. That's not right.
John, one other thing, too, you say if your street's in pretty good shape, but the next one over isn't, what you might have to do with a couple of your neighbors is go over and knock on a few doors over there and see who's there and see who's responsive, and get involved with this unsinkable neighborhoods.
I
try to spread
the next block, and I had the door shut.
Hello. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, this evening down here at Mile High Stadium. Very impressive. Nicky Thompson off road racing. Bet you wish you brought your kids, huh? If you're a kid, I bet your mom and dad brought you to this event. Jann Scott tonight. We are fearless. Watch this. Big truck rollover coming up.
the Chevy pit. They're in the process of changing this whole truck out. How's it going today?
Pretty good, how about you?
You want to talk?
What's that? This is for a local TV show.
Really, it is. You'll be seen all over. God, you look so great. Who designed your outfit?
What's that?
Who designed your suit?
Fox.
What?
Fox.
Ah, okay. Does your mother know you're doing this?
Yeah, but she doesn't like it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. She gets some bruises.
What's your name and who do you race for?
I'm Chris Coyote. I race Lager, Suzuki 250s, and 825.
You do any good?
Yeah.
Really?
Get some bike problems now and then.
You must be freezing, huh? Are you freezing?
Yeah, it's very cold.
Are you from California?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's cool out here in Colorado.
It is really cold out here. So where's your bike?
Right there.
This guy?
Yep.
You ever like get drunk and take it out in the street? Well, the cab forward design makes this Camaro look like a Ferrari. Pretty interesting looking. This Camaro is one of the best Camaros ever built by GM. Looks like a rocket, sounds like a rocket. Wait till we start it up, and it goes like a rocket. People hardly know what kind of car this is. Until you see that Chevy emblem right there, you wouldn't know that this was a Chevrolet, would you? Notice these 16-inch wheels they have, the new alloy wheels on the Camaro, and these Goodyear tires. These are P 245/50. The engine's a 350 Chevy, cast block with aluminum heads, a 10.5-to-1 compression, has a 275 horsepower motor. It's a Corvette LT1. Has a 6-speed transmission with a 3.23 rear end. Redline, computer chip is at 6,000 RPMs. This car could easily go 7,500. I can't accentuate how fast this car is. In 4th gear, it would go 130 miles an hour. In 5th gear, it went 150, and we ran out of road before we could get it into 6th gear. Next we took a test drive. Coming your way.
Scott Tonight, America's only non-network home video talk show. And now, here's Jann.
You tell your mother to teach you. Stop asking strangers for quarters. And I'm noticing this thing is starting to be in all races. Kids have no respect. They'll come up to strangers, say, give me a quarter, give me a dime. This is not just with black children. This is with Caucasian children. This is with children of all races. And if we don't stop it, it's going to mess with every race in this country. And we better stop it quick. I don't care if you see a black gang kid. You have a responsibility, Jann, to say, hey, no, you will not.
Got to do it in mass,
I
though.
am not afraid of you.
Okay.
And I don't care who they are, whether they're black gangs, white gangs, skinheads, blackheads, it does not matter. We need to take back our authority, and we need to make these children respect us.
Thanks for your call.
That's the problem, Jann.
Thanks you for
Have
your
a good
call.
night.
Bye. You know, just be careful when you do it one-on-one. Do it in large groups. I always advocate that. You know, do it with bright colors and large groups if you're going to confront a gang member. Hey, Craig, I'll take that break, okay? You want to do that? Let's go. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We got the lines are filled up almost. Line 5 is open. We'll be back on KNUS. I'm Jann Scott. This is a Sunday Night Talk, an intervention into the city.
Back to the man who brought recovery to talk radio. Former drug addict, homeless person, and therapist. It's a Sunday Night Talk with Jann Scott on AM710, the all-new KNUS.
Right back to the phones. We're going to go talk with Murray in Denver. Hi, Murray. You're on with Jann Scott this evening.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Jann, you know, I got in on your show when you made a couple of statements there. About a few minutes ago, you was talking to a lady in Montebello.
Uh-huh.
And you made the statement right there, the only black you ever knew that you could bring up was Ken Hamlin. And the next statement you made, if I see a black man in a 7-Eleven, I look behind me or something like that. Now, what do you mean?
No, I also mentioned my friend Rodney, who I went to high school with in New York City for a while. He was a good friend of mine, too. What did I mean by that? She asked me if I was racist, the woman from Aurora.
Yeah, I mean, what? No, I got my doubts. I think you are.
Okay, well,
I said you made the statement.
Yeah, I know.
That you would look behind you if a black man was behind you in a 7-Eleven. What 7-Eleven are you talking about?
Let me ask you something. Now, how old are you, Murray?
I'm 52.
Okay, now, Murray, if you were standing behind
53.
me. Murray, if you were standing behind me, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't think twice about it. Okay, if a young dude was standing behind me with a jacket on, I probably would become a little bit nervous if I was in the 7-Eleven. It's just a reaction.
What about are you talking about?
Where? What 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Probably one in Denver, not one in Boulder, but maybe one in the inner city.
Where are you from, Dan? How old are you?
I'm 47 years old.
47. And where are you? And what neighborhood do you live in? On this side of town?
Right now I live in Boulder, okay?
Boulder.
I grew up in a small town.
Obvious. I can see that.
Listen, Desi, before you start jumping on me, I grew up in a small town, and then I also went to high school in New York City. I'm a former drug addict, homeless person. I was in a gang when I was a teenager. I know what's going on, but you're asking me as a 47-year-old man, you want to know if I'm racist, right? And what I'm telling you is that if I get around, some black kids, it makes me a little bit nervous. Yes, it does. And you know what? You want to know something else, Desi? I'm not alone.
You made a statement of the black kid.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say
even
some kids.
It depends who the kid is. I'm thinking of just the other day. I was in the 7-Eleven, and a black kid came in and stood right behind me, and I couldn't see him, and it was late at night, and I became thoughtful. I turned around and I looked at him, and I thought, gee, I wonder what's going to happen here. I can't help it, Desi. It comes up for me and a lot of other white people.
Where was it at?
Murray?
Where was it at?
I'm talking to Murray.
The 7-Eleven.
It was in the inner city in Denver, up on Colfax.
Say, you know what? I live in Capitol Hill.
Yes, sir.
There's more white problems up here at 7-Eleven than it is black.
Well, okay. See, I don't want. You want to turn this into a race thing. You can't.
Anytime someone
No, hey, Desi, you can turn this into a race thing if you want to. This is not a race thing. It happens to be that 3 times the amount of people who are committing crimes in this country are black and Hispanic. Those are the numbers. They just came out in the paper here the other day. So you want to know why I'm a little bit nervous sometimes?
You got more whites than you have blacks and everything in the United States.
Just the murders alone, shootings alone. Who are in the gangs? Who's running the drugs? Who's selling the crack? Who's doing the drive-bys? Desi.
Wait a minute, don't you realize you have...
No, Desi, I want to know, what are you going to do about... Murray, what are you going to do about cleaning up... Desi, don't worry, I'll jump on you later. Murray, what are you going to do about cleaning up your neighborhood? That's what I really want to know.
Doing?
Yeah.
The neighborhood up here is white.
Uh-huh.
They're gays and they're crooks and everything, and you're talking about a black...
So you have no... Is there crime in your neighborhood, or is it...
7-Eleven up and down Colfax, until you get out here to Aurora, maybe, a black might start some problems.
Hey,
but
Murray.
you can go all the way up and down Colfax, and they'll tell you it's a white, funny-looking junkie come in there.
Well, I know. They're around. I'm not denying it.
Well, you said it's a black.
I'm just telling you. You asked me, I try to tell you the truth, how I feel.
Well, I'll tell you, anybody will tell you, if you see a funny-looking white, go in a 7-Eleven, right up here on Josephine and Colfax, who you going to watch first?
The funny-looking white guy or the funny-looking black guy?
Not you, I said. They'll tell you who they'll watch first.
Thanks for your call. I get a roll.
I know you want to take me off, yeah.
No, you're okay, man, but I don't know where we're going to go with this.
I don't know how we're okay when you sit up there and tell people you don't know but one black and that.
No, I know more than one black.
If they're like Kenny
Hamlin. I know more than one black.
Well, you couldn't have known him if you named somebody like Kenny Hamlin.
What? Are you trying to tell me Kenny Hamlin's an Oreo?
No, but I just say, wait a minute.
Huh?
If you name somebody like Kenny Hamlin to lead the black people...
I didn't say he should lead the black people. I'm not saying he should lead the black people. I don't care who leads the black people. I care about one thing. I'm sick of the gangbangers, the crack dealers, and the prostitutes, and I'm sick of them taking over the streets of this city, and I don't care what color you are. I gotta go to the other callers. Okay, let me go, would you? Say good night. Good night. Okay. Moses, you're on with Jan Scott. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
I'm 16, and I used to be around gang members a lot because I wanted to be one.
Yes, sir.
And what happened was my mom got on me a lot about it, and if it wasn't for her talking to me, no telling where I would be right now. Now it's like that lady Joyce.
Yeah.
Now that's how my mother is.
Yeah.
And I used to sag and all that. And that was a big problem to my mom. So
what does sag mean?
Huh?
What does sag mean, Moses?
Sagging, where you have your pants past your butt.
Well, they really do that.
Okay. Now check this out.
Yeah.
You said that if you was in the store and you saw a dude with a coat on, a black dude behind you, you'd be kind of nervous, right?
Well, it happened to me the other day, and I was nervous. I turned around to see who was there, and I'm like hyper vigilant, anyways, man. But that's another story. Go ahead, yeah. So I am.
Okay, so if you seen a guy,
there were only 3 of us in the store. The attendant behind the counter, me at the register, and a black dude walked in and he stood directly behind me. And what went through my mind is there a robbery about to take place here? I can't help it. It went through my mind and I stood aside. I want to know what's going on.
Okay, I hear you.
Okay.
But if you saw a black man in there with a dress pants, a dress shirt, and a tie, would you suspect anything?
No.
Okay, so you're going on their out appearance of what they're wearing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I got many of friends that wears bomber's coats with white socks and all that on them, but they're not a gang member. To their heart, they're more in the church than anybody. But you would think that because of what they're wearing. Why would you go by their out appearance?
I know. Hey, I know. You know what? You read the article in the paper where one of the schools now has uniforms, ties, jackets, and slacks for everybody?
No, I haven't read that.
Well, I tell you something. We're going to have dress codes to come back into the schools, ties, shirts, and jackets and slacks for everybody, and it'll just get people to stop. Then I wouldn't know who the gangbangers were, would I? And I'd stop judging. People do judge by the outer appearance. We do make those judgments. You know, and when there are gangs and large groups of people hanging around who go, wow, man, now what's this? What's going on here? You hear so much about the shootings and the violence. You know, I mean, what is a person to do? You tell me.
Well, I'm not. Hey, check this out though.
Yeah.
A lot of us kids, there's no jobs for us. Like that lady was saying, that lady Joyce. There's no jobs for us, so we don't have nothing else to do. So the first thing run to our mind is let's do something that we have no business to do. And we have more things built up for the teens and the young people. We'd be out a lot. We'd be in lesser trouble than we would be.
Moses, I have a question for you. Now you're 16, right?
Yeah, I'm 16.
Do you have a job now?
No.
Why not? Do you want?
I'm more in school than work right
So
now.
you don't need to be working. If you wanted a job, could you get one?
Yes.
Okay, that's the whole point. You made it for me. Thanks. I got to roll. Thank you for your call. 935-7100. If you're out of town, 1-800-533-0071 or 935-7100. You were making the point about jobs, Joe, that a lot of the kids don't have jobs. You wished out at the racetrack could do something to help some of the inner city kids.
Well, it would be anywhere, whether it be the racetrack, or the Speedway, or the Denver Broncos have the Youth Foundation. I hope the Colorado Rockies have something going that way. The Denver Nuggets have a program going. You know, we've got to work with these kids, give them an alternative to being out on the street.
Yeah, but see, now Moses made a point, though. See, his mom got on him. She wouldn't let him be hanging around with gangs and things like that. And I said, if you wanted a job, could you get one? And he said, yes, I could. And it's attitude. He does have a good attitude, and he obviously has a good mother.
He sounds like he's got a great
We're
mom.
going to go back to the phones. We want to thank Pete Egan for helping being our camera tonight. Craig has helped us all night long in the KNUS Weather Central. Hey, Craig, how are things over there in Weather Central?
Pretty much unchanged, Jan.
Okay, fine. Go back to it. Now
All
we're going to go talk to Kathy. And Joe Starr is down here this evening also. Kathy in Denver, hi.
Hi. I'm just calling in. I live in the Curtis Park community. And
where is that? Would you give us some cross streets for it?
Stout, California, 30th.
Okay.
Anyway, I keep hearing just a lot of negatives, I think, and you guys getting off on racist things. And anyway, I'm trying to focus on the positive, and I think that we work with a group of kids on Wednesdays. We always have activities.
Who's we?
There's one of my college professors used to attend Colorado Christian University. She taught cross-cultural communications, and so she would facilitate students coming into the city. And that's where I first learned about really inner city work. But we work with the kids and we try to give them opportunities to do things. We go roller skating, or we do crafts, or go to Nuggets basketball games, or at least something. And we're developing relationships with the kids and the moms. And I think that that's what needs to be, instead of just always watching out, I think that's important too. Keeping the streets clean.
The problem, Kathy, is that if you live in a neighborhood, say that's a working class neighborhood, and it's there are some gang activities there, or crack activities, or violent crime activities, those people have to be vigilant. They must take their neighborhood back, or they will lose it. That's a key issue, you see.
I agree, but why not work with them when they're younger and develop relationships and show them the right way?
Yeah, well, you're right, except that when the kids are going back and forth to, to school, if they're trying to, or if mom's on crack, or dad's an alcoholic, or whatever the heck's going on in the bad neighborhoods, the work has to happen on the street. It must happen house by house and street by street. You can come in from the outside from, your nice white Christian college, but it ain't going to get it. I mean, it might have, maybe it'll help. I don't know.
There's about probably 5 of us who have become so involved with the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I came from a suburban neighborhood, and I've moved, and I've opened up my house, and the kids can come over. They're always over here. They play on the computer. They just know there's like those houses in this
I get it.
neighborhood.
You're making a difference in somebody's life. I mean, I hear you loud and clear.
But just another thing I want to say to you is I don't think that comments like, if there's a black person standing behind me, I'm scared, need to be made on the radio. And I think there's enough pressure.
Well, why not? It needs to be honest. Do you know how many people feel that way? I'm not saying I'm not racist. I'm just vigilant about things. I know what's going.
Have you ever tried smiling, maybe, or that's the attitude that?
No, but it happens. It happens almost automatically. No, you're right. You're right. I don't disagree with it. I'm not perfect. I'm just a human being like everybody else out here.
Well, I think that, I mean, and I'm
No, I think we need to tell the truth, Kathy.
But I think that was my attitude, too. But now that I'm in the community, I go into the store, and it's one of the best experiences going into an inner city, like Downing supermarket.
Yeah.
People
well, look, I'm telling you,
out.
this was late at night. It was in the 7-Eleven. There was me, the guy in the register, and whoever walked in stood directly behind me. It made me nervous. The woman asked me, was I racist, you know, and I say, no, I'm not. I get nervous sometimes. I got to go. Thanks for your call. I like the point you made. You're right, you know, and I keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
So
hey, you know, I mean, tell me about this. Should I not tell the truth? Should I say, oh yeah, I'm Jann the Saint. I never have, you know, weird feelings about anything. I don't what? Go, Joe.
Well, I think you said. I think some people are missing the point that you said that it was in different types of 7-Eleven stores in different neighborhoods. In Boulder, if a black person walked up behind you, you didn't feel
probably not
at all. But you were talking about inner city.
Moses made the point. He said, if the guy had a nice pair of slacks on and a tie and a shirt, would it have made you nervous? And my answer was no.
Sure, you're stereotyping people, and you know, that's something that you probably shouldn't do, that anybody should do, but it happens.
You know, a lot of stuff happens. We're living in an armed camp. I'd like to... Incidentally, folks, tonight some of the stuff we're talking about is reclaiming our neighborhoods from the gangs, the crack dealers, the prostitutes, and the violent crime. Somehow racism's gotten involved in this, and one of the statements, of course, I've made is, you know, is that a lot of gangs are predominantly black and Hispanic, and it's up to the black and Hispanic parents to take their neighborhoods back, to take control of their kids again. And I do that in my neighborhood. My neighborhood's white. If I see activity, I'm down there in the street, and I like to find out what's going on and try to put an end to it. Let me see, which line am I going to this time?
Desi, number 3. Hopefully he's on
number 3. Okay. Is Desi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead, sir. Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm a pretty much constant listener and caller in the Ken Hamlin show, and I guess in a way I didn't call to talk about him, but I would kind of like to defend him really quickly. I think the thing is, Ken talks, I'm an African-American man. I live in deep South Aurora. I live out here for a reason, because I would not live in the hood or the ghetto, because a hood or a ghetto is not something that's black. It's nothing that you take pride in. A ghetto is something you experience and escape. The people who are down there want out. They don't. Most of them do. The ones who don't want out, they're crazy. Okay? If you take the attitude that you go into a 7-Eleven and you become intimidated or you become scared because a 16-year-old black kid walks in behind you, I don't find a problem with that. I think you're right. As a black man, I would be intimidated and scared or nervous or paranoid or whatever you want to call it, because in this society today, black men and Latino men conduct most of the lower level crimes, and that's just a fact. Okay, there's no denying that.
Right.
The question is, what are black people going to do to address this problem themselves? Not what are you going to do as a white man? Not what is the white girl going to do who lets them come in their house and play on the computers? Because to me, that's almost a form of patronizing or treating us like children. We are the pet blacks, and you know. I don't want to be placed in that type of situation.
I think that she's genuinely working with some inner city deprived kids, and she'll probably make a big difference in somebody's life. It's a big difference when you're living in the hood and stuff's going down every single night.
When it's a science project or it's a class project or it's some phase of your life, that's one thing. But my point is, it's a black problem, and the question really lies on individual black people and on traditional black leadership. That means the NAACP, the Urban League, and your major ministers in Northeast Park Hill. What are those individuals doing to change the neighborhoods, the communities, the climate as we near the Rodney King trial and the Reggie Denny trial? And they're talking about, you know, inner cities erupting across America. White folks are out buying guns in droves. Black folks are. What are these people going to do? What is the guy from the NAACP, I think his name is Tillman, what's he going to do? What is their game plan? What is their strategy to get black America back on the path to prosperity.
I'll tell you what absolutely will work, and a few people have brought it up this evening, and it started out with, what's his name? Sidney, one of our first callers, who was a black truck driver about 2 hours ago from Philadelphia, and we were talking about reclaiming neighborhoods. What has to happen, and this absolutely works, is people who live in working class neighborhoods don't go away. No, we just talked to Donald. Okay, Lewis, don't you go away. We're going to talk to you next, and then Charles from Westminster will be back on a Sunday night talk, an intervention into the city. I'm Jann Scott, the drug fighter on KNUS.
Come blowing through. I got a hold of my soul.
Major funding for Jann Scott Tonight is provided by Johnson Storage and Moving Company, agents for United Van Lines. Additional funding provided by Boulder Jones Drug. Mike's Camera and Video. And Mars Cafe in Boulder for providing coffee. Come to the Mars Cafe on the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. for a live taping of Jann Scott Tonight. Boulder Taco John's. Boulder Security Lock and Key Shop. Denstall's Fine Garage. Honda cars exclusively. Terry Chiropractic and Healthcare.